with our nurse and beautiful colors.
We're going to the Maui County Fair.
First one in how long?
6 years, I think.
6? I thought it was like...
At least 5. We've
Ooh.
been living here for 4, and they haven't had it. So they haven't had it since before COVID. So I think it was like 2019 was the last one. So 6
Very
years.
cool. And I believe this is similar to a fair I went to on the Big Island 13 or 14 years ago. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. If you've ever been to a county fair, I imagine it's going to be like that. Fairway rides and.
But it's Maui, so I assume it'll be smaller.
Carnival booths that steal all your money in a fun way. All sorts of things like that, and Ferris wheels and cool stuff. It's
Ferris
at
wheels.
The fairgrounds is at the War Memorial Stadium area. It's across the street from the Maui Nui Botanical Gardens at the War Memorial Stadium area. I'm not exactly sure the logistics of where it is. There's a parade that goes by the Queen Kaahumanu Center and then towards that area. And the Queen Kaahumanu Center is where all the art exhibits and fiber arts exhibits are, where some of my students submitted stuff. So that's
very cool. And today's the first day. Today's Thursday. You're probably going to be watching this on a Friday. And it's going on till Sunday, so make sure to check it out. Aloha!
See you there. little bit about the county fair after the fact. The first thing you really need to know if you're going is to make sure that you have both cash and money on a card of some kind, credit card, debit card, because the food court area only takes cash and cards and not the like fake currency of the park. And then inside the fairgrounds, the rides, the desserts, and all the games do not take any cash whatsoever. You have to get the EK Fun Pass or the EK Fun Pass app. I would recommend getting the app, downloading it, setting up the profile before you even go, buying some tickets because it's annoying to do while you're there. If you don't get that, then you need to wait in line to use cash to get a Fun Pass card. So that's the only way you can use cash for the rides and all the entertainment inside the park. So basically bring all forms of payment if possible. That seems to be kind of a trend in county fairs and stuff because they want you to not really feel that you're spending so much money, I guess. They want you to just buy $100 worth of tickets and then play a bunch of games and maybe have some left over and then they get free money. But to be honest, I think that that's losing the money because it was really annoying for a lot of people. You'd wait in line just to find out that you don't have the right like card or tickets or whatever. To get the funnel cake, you have to pay them with that card and then get a little poker chip and then wait in another line. I saw so many people that were just disappointed. I saw people whose cards that they just bought didn't even work. So I really question that system and whether it's even making them any extra money, but whatever. Anyway, just important to know. Also just like, I don't know, as an adult who doesn't have kids, doesn't have a ton of money and doesn't drink, it was kind of interesting because, you know, I remembered it fondly from before I had lots of responsibilities. I had to work early the next day, so it was actually quite stressful to be in a big crowd, wait in a lot of lines, and think about how it was going to be a long time before I was home and could, you know, go to sleep before having to work the next day. So that was a little bit of a damper on it too. I imagine that if I don't drink, but I imagine back when I did, it would have been a little bit more fun with a few drinks. But, you know, to just loosen up and enjoy the crowds a little bit, I guess. Not that I'm recommending you do that, that's the only way to enjoy it. But yeah, I guess if you have kids, it'd be a little more fun for them. Whether it'd be fun for you is a question, but you know, kids enjoy, they don't mind crowds. And, you know, I've heard from my students that they really loved it and it was a lot of fun. A couple of other things to note is that on Sunday, the last day of the fair, it's free to enter for the first 2,000 people, and I think all the rides are half off. I don't know if there's any deals on the games. So I guess they're kind of trying to attract all of the people that didn't get a chance to go before. Parking is $5 if you want to be right by the fairgrounds. There's a lot of traffic getting to those parking lots, so another thing you can do is for free. You can go to the Queen Kākou Center or a few other parking areas, Wailuku parking garage nearby, and those are free, and then they have a shuttle that'll bring you there. But you know, you're still going to end up in that traffic and you have to wait for the shuttle. So personally, I think it's worth the $5 to just be able to park and go in. Yeah, so overall, I mean, C- for us, just because, you know, it was a school night for me. It was, you know, it's expensive. The app stuff was annoying. There were a lot of lines, a lot of crowds. It's quite overwhelming. So go, by all means. I'm not saying it's a terrible experience for a certain kind of person who enjoys that kind of thing, but be prepared to wait in line. That's my dog's rubber chicken. Be prepared to wait in line, spend a lot of money, and just be patient with lots of crowds. And you know, maybe you'll win that giant plush axolotl or whatever. Aloha, enjoy. Or easy lines.
We got the
Oh, so Fun Factory bought all 20.
You want the unicorn? It's nurse. Isaac, how happy are you?
We gotta put this down.
I will. unicorn. Duh.
You're not a cat?
So it's a very different experience Sunday morning. It's hotter, fewer people, but the annoyance. The one thing I'm complaining about is that some of the things aren't open yet, like the funnel cake that we wanted to get. We ran straight there to be first in line. They're like, come back in an hour. And the other the food court, everything seems to be mostly open. But then the other place next to the funnel cake that has like the candied apples, they only had like half of their stuff. So slightly frustrating, and some of the games weren't ready yet either. So when you come early, you might wait, but you're waiting more peacefully. Look, I'm sitting. You could not sit here last time. It was completely packed.
Not bad. Maybe because it's first thing in the morning, but for Sunday, not bad.
But looks like the line for the funnel cakes and Oreos is small. I literally said they better not say 1 more hour. And they said 1 more hour. Their propane is broken. Ah, I'm happy.
Isaac.
And we are the Travel Bug Bite.
We met in Prague, Czech Republic,
Lived in Shanghai, China.
New York, and Rhode Island, USA.
And now we live in Hawaii.
We've traveled from Tibet to Puerto Rico.
Harbin to PP.
And drove cross country with Smiley in our Tesla Model 3.
Subscribe to follow our adventures.
If you liked our video, don't forget to click the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Check out our videos from all around the world and let us know what you'd like to see next.
Thanks for watching!